Well, hello, race fans. We're back. It's Speed Talk, but this time we're on YouTube. I'm Jason.
And I'm Dean, and yes, you can see us instead of just hearing us. How about that? Oh man,
We're going to
crazy.
talk a little bit about Elko Speedway on this return show of ours because you and I got to spend the weekend together, not really next to each other, but we got to experience Elko Speedway in the opener, and it was awesome.
It was a great night, and Mother Nature tried to scare us just a little bit with a couple little sprinkles, but that was it. And then the skies kind of cleared out, and it became a really nice night. And on Memorial Weekend, we'll take any kind of good weather we can get.
Yeah, really, we at Elko Speedway, we don't schedule a ton of races early in the season because really statistically, a lot of rain in April, May, and June. And so the forecast for rain, or really the percentage of the time that it's raining, is much less when you get to July, August, and September. And so season starts a little bit later. Truthfully, I was really itching to get back at it, Dino.
Oh, it's exciting. It's a long winter, even though it wasn't a big snowy winter. Maybe we got teased a little bit by the mild winter saying, hey, let's go racing. We shouldn't be racing now, shouldn't we? And, we're not waiting for the snow to melt because we didn't have any snow. And so it seemed like a longer wait than normal. But, everybody back up to form again. It was really fun to watch everybody, trying it out for the first time, under pressure and real race conditions. And some drivers, it worked out good for. Others, not so well, though.
Well, yeah, let's start off with the good. So in the late model division, it was nice to get like 17 cars. So that was a really good field. Jake Ryan and Steve Anderson were the two winners. But really, kind of Chad Wallen was a winner too, wasn't he?
Oh, he was too. He's right in the mix, and I think he's going to be a championship contender this season. He's going to be a guy to watch and a guy who's going to win a lot of races this year. I think he's going to be have a really breakout year. Not that he's ever had a bad year. It's just going to be a really good year for him.
There's the Jake Ryan picture right there. And then we have the Steve Anderson victory lane photo right there. And then this was a photo that I took, and that was right after the opening ceremonies, which is kind of emotional and kind of fun with the color guard there. And that was Chad Wallen. And the reason why he was kind of a big winner was because of the qualifying. And this
And
year,
that's a big deal
yeah,
this year now, a much bigger deal than before.
yeah, because now they still get points just like normal, but now there's a lot more money on the line. Matter of fact, there was no money on the line before, and now it's $500, and that's put up by Interim Healthcare Staffing. And of course, we know Scott LeFevre from LeFevre Racing, ASA days. And of course, he raced at Elko Speedway for a long time as well, a good car owner as well. He has come on to donate $500 for the fast timer each and every week. And that was Chad Wallen. But not only was he the fast timer, new track record, which is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that was amazing. I wasn't even paying attention to a track record being set. I thought, oh, people are going to push a little harder because there's money on the line. And Chad Wallen stepped up to the plate and hit the home run on the first night.
It's always the first night that has the track record because that's the only night they all have Ford brand new tires on.
Well, and that's the other thing. Besides that, is it's also a little bit cooler when you get in the hot summer nights. There, the track is a little more slippery, a little more sliding around and stuff like that. With the new tires and a tight racetrack, really sets up for a lot of speed, and that's exactly what you saw on Saturday night.
So Chad Wallen set a time of 14.442, which beat the track record, which was 14.462. And surprisingly, it was not Jacob Gady who had the track record. It was 1 year ago, which was at Memorial Weekend 1 year ago. And it was Jake Ryan who was the fast timer. And so Chad Wallen was the fast timer. Jake Ryan, Steve Anderson were the feature winners. But I think it's going to be real close this year. I think there's a handful of guys who are really going to be in contention for the championship this year. When you think of other people that could be in for the championship, I think Billy Moan would definitely have a shot if he would race there weekly. Now, he's been known to travel a bit, and so I think that definitely would be someone that could win it. Of course, the three we mentioned with Chad Wallen and Jake Ryan and Chad Wallen, they were neck and neck with Gady last year for the championship. And so either one of them could win it without a doubt. I think they both have to be the favorite. Now, we did a poll on Facebook, on our Facebook page,
Yes.
Speed Talk on 1360. And I have the results of our poll, fan poll. And it might surprise you a little bit that Jake Ryan was tied for first, but he was
Ooh.
not tied with Chad Wallen.
Really?
You know who he was tied with 30% of the vote? And there was
No.
quite a few people. There was over 100 people who voted for this.
I did vote.
It was
You probably
Jeremy Wolf was tied.
Really? Well,
Yeah. Now,
there's
Jeremy
another
Wolf,
guy that's
fan
going to be
favorite.
right in there too.
Yeah, fan favorite
I
for
think he's
sure.
going to be a guy that's going to win a lot of races there too. You know, without Jacob Gady here trying, 10 time in a row opens the door for a lot of people have always kind of been right there. And now seeing that open door, I see a lot of drivers are going to go, hey, this is my chance. This is my year. I'm going to get it this year.
You know who I really like seeing up front was Joel Tyson, the veteran
That's the
driver, leading all those laps
until the agony of defeat.
Yeah, mechanical problems under
man.
caution. We don't know exactly what happened to it, but he's got to be disappointed with that, leading all those laps and then not coming home with the win. Donnie Reavers, the Rocket, was looking really good too, which was fun. Of course, 9-time champion Elko Speedway in the years right before Jacob Gady.
Yeah. So look at for the last 19 years, there's only been 2 guys that have won the championship.
But that makes it sound like it wasn't competitive, but it's always
really
been competitive. It's so hard to beat Jacob Gady because he's so consistent.
Well, and the other thing about the late models too is there's not a lot of cars getting lapped.
No.
And the only cars that really get lapped are cars that are having a mechanical problem or something like that. All the cars are usually clumped together and they're all on the lead lap. There's not guys that are a couple laps down, like so minus the mechanical issues or something like that. Everybody is competitive, and on any given night, if the stars align right and the things just open up for you in front, several drivers have the opportunity to win. And I think we're going to see a lot of that this year too.
I'm not used to being on camera, so I just itch my nose. I'm used to radio, and so
I know radio. We could kind of kick back and lean,
and we're like give each other hand signals. Not supposed to do that on TV, I guess. But
I like to use my hands, so you will see my hands flipping around here a little bit here. So
okay, so another couple young guys I was very impressed with. How about Danny Mann, huh?
Oh man, Danny Mann, I'll tell you, it was something to watch, and he's got a lot of speed and a lot of potential. Unfortunately, he met with some bad luck as well too, but that's not going to keep him down. And I think he's one of those young guns. We have a lot of young guns out there that are the future of racing, and he's one of those young guns.
Yeah, especially, a Bando champion just a couple years ago, and then he's running out there. This is his first year in a late model, and he's right up front leading laps. And then the restart happened, and Sire Keski got by him, and then things snowballed a little bit, and he ended up in a wreck. But at the beginning of the race, he was running away with it. So that car has a lot of potential. And of course, when he gets the feel of the car, I think he definitely will be a factor. And there's another young driver too, another former Bando champion and legend champion, Colin Stalker, looked really good too.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he's another. Don't be surprised to see him in victory lane this year as well too, because he looks like he has a lot of speed. Definitely not afraid of the car. I mean, that's and I'm not meaning that any negative connotation, but when you get in a late model, they have a lot of power and they have a lot of it's intimidating for some drivers, and to see a young driver get in there and not be shaken by what's going on and running close with other drivers, that's very impressive. And that's kind of a trademark at Elko Speedway. We don't have a lot of beating and banging and a lot of stuff like that. You go down south and there's a lot of bumper use. Around here, we specialize in close racing. We see that in not just the late models, we see it in all the other divisions as well too.
Yeah, traditionally up here, it's very clean racing. Now, Gady will be back occasionally. He said he is coming back occasionally, so it'll be fun to see how he does when he integrates back into the field of late models. But one negative was Tim Anderson, who is the brother of Steve Anderson, first time out and a bad wreck in corner number 4.
I looked at that car in the pits after the races, and it did not look good at all. It's like, oh boy, what a hard way to start the season, and hopefully can use the little bit of time off that we have here to get the car back together again and put it back out there, because that's no indication of how things are going to go. It's just one bad night, unfortunately, on opening night, a bad night. But I think go get back at it and get back in there again, and I think he's going to be fine.
I think his brother winning helped the night a little bit, but yeah, that was a rough way to start. So how about Thunder Cars? Brent Kane, the freight train, has to be the favorite, right? I mean, it's his 25th year of racing now, 130th win of his career.
And he did it with two good feet this time, because last year he had an injury and he was driving with a cast on his foot, and he still managed to win races, but it was kind of a detriment to try and run for a championship. And now he's back up to full speed, and I think he's going to be right back up where people used to see him, and that's up from front and in victory lane.
Yeah, and he still finished second last year, even with the bad foot Achilles injury. And then Adam Wiebusch was the winner of the second feature event. What a cute picture that one is.
Yeah, what great to see the Wiebusches. That's a name synonymous with racing the last several years here. And nice to see that green number 9 car in the victory lane.
Yeah, he took a year off, but he had won the previous year. Now Julie Jorgensen, won the Power Stock Championship last year, but she raced a little over half the season, and that was over in the Thunder Cars. And now she's full-time Thunder Cars and Power Stocks this year. So she's definitely got to be a contender, after winning the Women in Motorsports North America national competition.
And a big paycheck.
Focused. Yeah, big $125,000.
Yeah. How many short track racers how many short track racers from Minnesota yet win $125,000?
Yeah,
it's like, wow, that's unheard of money. That's great money.
And she enters it again this year. And so she needs to get as many wins as possible. So she's full-time in Power Stocks and Thunder Cars. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how she does, because Tommy Sorum is going to be good this year. How about Taylor Goldman? Now, she didn't have a great opening night, but they're going to get that car figured out. And then there's a new driver with Dylan Selner, the champion last year's car, but it's a new driver, Jimmy O'Mara III. And this guy, he raced Power Stocks back in the day. Now, that was, 15 years ago or so. But opening night, he stuck right with him in, top 5.
Yeah, knocked the rust off pretty quickly there, that's for sure. And definitely a fast car, which we have seen run fast in the past. So a good combination there. Expect to see some wins there too.
Now, when we head over to the Power Stocks, Mike Stair and Jesse Fisher were the two winners. And truthfully, I think that those two have to be the favorites for the year, because, Stair has won a ton of races the last couple of years. Look at all the people in his victory lane photo. That's just crazy.
Let me see. No, I'm not going to count here, but there's a lot there. Yeah. There isn't a lot of room where there isn't somebody. So
yeah. And then Jesse Fisher too. Popular. Jesse Fisher didn't run all the races last year. He missed a couple, but still finished top 5 in points. And he also won a ton of features last year. I think those two have to be the favorite, along with Julie Jorgensen, who's running again.
Yeah, I think Julie's going to be a threat in both divisions. She's running too. And as you can tell by looking at those pictures, now granted it's opening night, but we talk about how clean they run. This is the lower division class, and yet these cars are in really nice condition. They don't beat and bang. They race each other and race each other hard. And the competition is so even. And we're going to see a lot of things there. I'm obviously Mike Stair, veteran driver. He knows how to put a car together. He's gonna be up front quite often, but I don't think he's gonna win every night. That's for sure. And Jesse Fisher, yes, definitely look pretty smooth and pretty fast out there as well too. So I'm really looking forward to watch that class too.
So the favorite thing for me to watch this next year, I think, will be to see how Julie Jorgensen and her brother Jimmy Jorgensen race each other, because Julie finally got her championship, right? She spent nearly a decade trying to get that championship. She finally got it, kind of takes the pressure off her, but now it squarely puts the pressure right on Jimmy Jorgensen's back.
Yeah, so a little sibling rivalry going there, and if you
Mhm.
got the last name Jorgensen, you're kind of almost expected to be up near the front, as we mentioned. Conrad Jorgensen, long time, you know, carrying the flag for that team and that family. That's for sure.
Yeah, five-time champion in the Thunder cars. And um, by the way, Conrad will be racing some this year. He is not retired. He said
Oh,
he's trying to get a car because he's got Julie's car dialed in now, right? Thunder
yep.
car. So
Hmm.
he's building a car for Jimmy now, and he's gonna get that dialed in through the year. So you will see Conrad racing some this year.
He just kind of does that once in a while. He'll just pull out a car and come out and race or whatever. So it's like you never quite know when, and you never quite know when he's going to win, because he's definitely a driver capable of winning.
So, how about the INEX divisions? So, we've got the Legends division, and talk about a lot of fun people in a picture. How about this one? Tristan Swanson, who's been red hot last year, won 9 features at Elko Speedway. Starts off 2024 just like 2023 with the first win right there, and then the second win with I love the got the broom there for the clean sweep.
Clean sweep. Yeah, pretty exciting stuff though, and it was kind of interesting to see in both races he got out to a big lead, and in both races a late caution bunched everybody out,
Mhm.
and it was kind of a dash to the flag in both races too. And that 66 cars really got it going. I'll tell you that Prusak bunch with Tristan, and what a great combination they are, and they're going to win not just here, they're going to go other places, and they have already won. Believe they were at Dell's just recently, about a week ago, and won there as well too. So it's not just at Elko; they can go just about anywhere and be competitive. And they're a fun team to watch and clean racer. And I'll tell you, I was watching the lap times on Tristan during the race. Normally, as the race goes on, times kind of slow down. He got progressively faster during the race, and it was like, wow, you don't normally see that. Usually, everybody kind of, and usually that is the field kind of slows down as the race progresses. He was getting faster, so it's incredible what's going on there. Don't cross off guys like Baden Heskett though; he's right there, and blink of the eye, he's going to be right there too. He's another one of those really fast guys. And of course, you got all the young guns, all these guys that are young drivers that have moved up from the bandos over the last couple of years that are jumping into the Legends cars, and they're pretty fast too.
That's the thing about the Legends is there's always going to be lap traffic. There's always going to be 3 wide around the track. And yeah, like you said, Tristan is not only just a great Legends driver. He runs super late models. He's run late models. He's going to be all over. He is not going to be at Elko Speedway every week. Okay. So he's not going to win the championship. So then it puts it up to who will be there every week. Baden Heskett should be there every week, former champion. We know he can do it. Robbie Carter missed opening night,
Yes.
and he was still there, though. He was focusing his energy on his daughter, Logan, in the bandos, and he said that he's just going to run part-time at Elko this year. So that opens up the door for the guy who finished second place last year, Ayrton Brockhouse.
Yes.
14 years
And
old.
yes, and another driver who talked about going in different places and winning. There's a driver too that can go different places and win and be very competitive too. So
Well, all
look
winter.
for
All
him.
winter.
Yeah,
That's all he did was travel and win.
yeah. No matter where, coast to coast, really. I mean, down south and out west, and you name it. He's a competitor. Oh, of course, we've known that for years. That the Legends, especially the Legends out of Minnesota, are good. And we're spoiled that we have such a good field of them, because when they go to other tracks and other places around the country, they're right up there in the front as well too. So it's not just like they can only run fast at one track. They run fast here and they have to compete against each other. They go other places and they all win, it seems like. So it's amazing to see. We're very blessed to have the Legends that we have around here. And once again, I talk about clean racing down south. You got to go to a racetrack with about 10 bumpers in your hauler. Around here, maybe you got one or two laying around, and you don't really need them that much. But down south, they do a lot of pushing and shoving. Around here, we just run hard and clean. And you see that all the way through the field as well with the Legends too.
It was fun to see Dirk Henry there on opening night, and a really good field of Legends. The one I was really impressed me that surprised me a little bit was Riley Goodwin, 2 top 5s. And this kid, I think of him as a little bando kid, and he has got the talent. He's really stepped it up. I wouldn't be surprised if he got a win this year.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised. You say little bando kids, and we've been around this long enough that we've seen these little bando
Yeah.
kids grow up and become,
Well,
legends and late model
uh,
drivers and do very well in all those divisions.
how about Owen Giles? I mean,
Yes.
we didn't even mention him in the late
Oh,
models, and he could be a contender and win the championship this year.
yeah.
So there's so many of them that have graduated through the bandos up the ranks. Speaking of the bandos, we had TJ Moon come all the way from Fayetteville, North Carolina to sweep it at Elko Speedway on Saturday night. Isn't that cool that you can take a little race car like that and travel the country with it?
Oh yeah, I mean that's the great thing about the bandos too, and it's such a great class to see grow. Once again, we talked about watching things develop over the years. A few years ago, bandos didn't have a whole lot of cars, and now we have a pretty good number of cars and a lot of young drivers, a lot of familiar last names in there. But also, we get some travelers that come in. We get the driver from other parts of the country. We get other drivers from Wisconsin a lot of times. Iowa, we get some drivers in on occasion too. And they always seem to be pretty fast too. So it's always kind of fun to watch these young kids develop here. And of course, we know where they go next. And they go on to bigger and better things along the way too. And we've seen that guys with like Sammy Smith and stuff like that have came to Elko and have gotten, now you see them in running NASCAR and stuff like that too. I mean, remember
William
they were running,
Sawalich. How about
yeah,
William
another,
Sawalich?
yes,
The
yes,
picture I
another
have
driver.
of him, he looks like he's about 10 years old in that
Yeah,
photo.
yeah.
And he's going to be
So
running the ARCA race.
yes. So I mean, a lot of these drivers, and they like coming back to Elko too when they move up in class too. It's kind of fun for them to come back going, this is where I started out when I was just a kid. I mean, they're a young kid driver the way it is now, but they remember when they started out and they were running the bandos and in the Legends cars and such, and how they that got the foundation for their racing career.
Well, I think because of the success of Little Elko, the quarter midget track, there's like a pipeline of a lot of young drivers that are going to be making their way up here in the next few years. And it'll be interesting to see if they go bandos, legends, late models, or they're going to go bandos, power stocks, thunder cars, late models, or where they're going to go. So it'll be interesting to see if they go the old school way or if they just skip ahead like the Legends division or what they're going to do. It's going to be interesting. Now, some other names that I think we're going to see in Victory Lane this year is Colton Rowe Pershel for sure.
Mhm.
Now, they are very dedicated to their program, but the thing is, they have a lot of other interests, including traveling the world to Slovenia and playing hockey for Team USA.
Yeah,
Isn't
that's
that
pretty
crazy?
amazing. Goalie and also
12 years old.
not just plays goalie, but plays defense, I believe, or another
Mm-hmm.
position too, besides goalie too. Mostly goalie, but it's like, hey, more power to them. These kids are pretty amazing here. They got more energy than we ever did at that age, that's for sure.
And then there's of course Bentley Thompson. He's going to win, half the time when he comes here, I'm sure, but he won't be here every week coming in from Wisconsin. Logan Carter, as we mentioned, and I think Christopher Flynn has really stepped up, and I think he really could be in Victory Lane this year. And we have a lot of really new rookies this year. And when I interviewed Tim Olson a couple of weeks ago, which is on our website, which is Race Fans Radio, at blogspot.com, or you can just go to Speed Talk on 1360, just Google search it. I did interviews with Tim Brockhouse, and he talked about their travels over the winter, but he also talked about how many bandos are coming in, and we're going to have a good, strong field of bandos every week at Elko Speedway.
Well, yeah. I mean, as I say, you can take those cars and race anywhere too. So if you're out traveling, and we're not in the summer yet, we're just kicking off summer, and that makes it easier for students and kids to get out and travel a little bit here too. So that's an exciting thing to watch. Is we'll have names that we haven't seen before, but we're going to see them cruise right on up to the front.
So it was more than just racing. There also was monster trucks there, and we had the monster truck that started it all, Bigfoot, making its first ever appearance at Elko Speedway, which I think is pretty dang cool. Josh Bumgartner was the driver, and I think they said this is the 26th edition of Bigfoot.
It's had a lot of different variations too, and with the super monster tires on it, and just kind of the regular scheme like we see here. And it's got morphed into some other things too. So it's amazing to see these monster trucks. I know you've been a monster truck fan for many years, and you go back to the Bigfoot original days too. I know with liking monster trucks too. So it was a pretty cool thing to see Bigfoot.
Yes, and then Thunder 4x4 was there as well with Jim Benzik, and he put on a fantastic show, nearly going up into the crowd, thrilling everyone. I was standing
Really
right
stood
there
it on end
when he was
too.
climbing.
When he was going over those cars. He stood that
fantastic.
thing up. I'm
Mhm.
doing some things I haven't seen a monster truck do at Elko Speedway before.
And he said he only had first gear. He blew out second gear. And so that's why he was disappointed with the show. And I go, if that's a disappointing show, I can't wait for a show you're happy about.
That was a great show. That was
Yeah.
really a good I mean, we've seen a lot of monster truck shows over the years, and that both of those two really put on a great show. Good
So
effort.
about the drifters though, and see, they are participating in the spectator drags, and Austin Matta won the spectator drags with his drifter car, which is kind of cheating. You
Yeah,
can
a little bit.
here 800 horsepower.
Yeah, that's
But
that thing is
didn't win
that thing is
both the races.
amazing.
Yeah, he didn't win both the races. Mark Klein ended up winning one of the races. It's a best of three. And I asked Austin after it, I was like, did you just let Mark win that one? He's like, no, I was going for it. He's like, this thing does not handle going straight. He says, it does not want to go straight at all. And so he's like, yeah, he beat me fair and square for that one, but he had to get him for the third one.
I'll talk about drivers that have a lot of notoriety and credibility there. Austin Matta, we see him a lot at Elko Speedway. He lives close to the racetrack, and so he talked to us afterwards, and he said, "Yeah, I like coming here because it's just close by and it's a lot of fun." But you turn on your TV and they show drifting on TV, and who do you see?
Mm-hmm.
Austin Matta. I mean, he's right there. He's not just one of those guys that shows up at these events. He's a guy that's up there, and he's very competitive, and he's right up there, battling for points and wins and all that in the drifting world.
Yep. And I saw him when I was at Hooters. It was on TV, and I was just there, just did a big feature on drifting, and there he was. And so,
and they're like, I know that guy.
Yeah, like,
I've seen that guy. He comes to Elko all the time,
Yeah.
So we'll have them back later on in the year. They'll be back again another time.
So as far as the next event at Elko Speedway, it's going to be Saturday, June 15th. So we do have a little bit of time off, but there's some big events coming up later on in the year, including the ARCA series will be coming back. Now, traditionally, the ARCA series has raced at Elko Speedway, and I think it's been like 9 years that they've been racing at Elko.
Oh, wow.
Took a few years off here and there, but it's going to be August 3rd this year. And one cool thing is sponsored by Menards again. And I don't know if you saw, the Menards employees down in the Twin Cities are all wearing shirts that say NASCAR Racing Elko Speedway August 3rd on the back of their shirts at the store.
Oh, I have not seen that yet. I was just at Menards locally here, so
yeah, it's pretty cool. So they are going all out to promote it. And I think that's going to be a good race night for them. Not that June isn't good, but August is a lot better for big crowds, I think.
And just within the last week, a major sponsor has been announced for that too. It's going to be the Shore Lunch 250 presented by Dutch Boy. So a couple of major names there too. Makes me kind of think a little bit here. And I like the Shore Lunch. They don't just do the breading for the fish and stuff, but they also make a really good chili mix and stuff like that. And I was thinking, now maybe this is pushing a little bit too much. One of the other sponsors is Harris Potato Chips. And when the driver wins at the race sponsored by Harris Potato Chips, they dump potato chips on them. So, we got Shore Lunch and Dutch Boy paint. I don't think we want to dump paint or make chili on the winner. It's like that would be very memorable if we did that.
Don't dump fish on them in Victory Lane. That would be a bad idea.
Make some chili or soup mix or something like that.
I don't know, Dean. That's why you're not the promoter of the track.
Okay, all right. Well, but if they dump the bucket of paint on them, it would be
that'd be really bad. It would go
viral.
Memorable. That would be memorable. Yes, for sure. And so the cool thing about it is, just think of all the big names who have raced at Elko Speedway who are now racing on TV. A lot of them, Chris Buescher, you can just go through the list of people who raced in the ARCA races who are now on TV. And just recently, like you said, Sammy Smith And William Sawalich will be in the Xfinity series here in the next
Who's
couple of
from
years.
Minnesota.
And he's from here.
Not just, yeah,
It's
he's
going
from
to be
Eden Prairie.
huge. Yeah.
Yes, it's going to be a huge one too. Jesse Love, who won last year, got a good ride now on the NASCAR Nationwide series there, and NASCAR series, and he's doing a great job there too. So we see a lot of the drivers that win, they move up to something bigger very quickly too. So Sawalich has a little bit of a disadvantage about moving up because he's so young. He can't compete at some of these bigger tracks, and even right now he can't run some of the bigger tracks like Daytona and stuff like that. That's kind of sad. He's too young to race, but yet he can go to other tracks and he can be very dominant and very a hard charger. And trust me, he's gonna want to win big time in Minnesota at Elko on August the 3rd. So I think he's going to put it all out. He's got the big team with him. I think that's going to be a one that he's got circled already on his calendar to try and win.
Yeah, when you're racing for Joe Gibbs, they expect you to win for sure. And then there's Thunderstruck 93, which is returning. Now, it was supposed to return last year and it got rained out. So that's the return of super late models to Elko Speedway, which will be really cool. And that'll be on September 21st. So you might want to put that on your calendar now. That's not going to be a destruction night. It's going to be just all racing all night long. And I think it'll be a blast. All of us miss super late models at the 3/8 mile.
And one of the things that is going to be a little bit different for us, because we used to follow the series and now summer races and gone to a lot of the races on the road and stuff. And we knew a lot of the drivers. In the last couple of years, there's a whole new set of drivers that we don't know. However, all those drivers, many of them have never raced at Elko Speedway. And so you throw in some of the mix of the ones that we are familiar with, you know, the Jacob Gateys and the Brian Sire Keskis and such like that, who run at Elko and know Elko very well, will make it even more of a spectacle in racing. And of course, remember in past races, the Elko drivers, even ones that didn't race all the time with the touring series, when the touring series came, they'd always jump in and race with them. They always mixed right in very well with those guys that ran the entire series and have big racing bucks and big racing operations. And the local guys at Elko, probably the toughest bunch that the Midwest Tour is going to see when they come in later on this summer.
And who do you think would be the favorite in that race? I think it has to be, you know, Danny Fredrickson, Ty Fredrickson.
Yes, Ty Fredrickson. And now you hit on somebody that we're going to see, and we're going to see him, I think, sometime prior to that, though, too. Talk about a young phenom and a driver that's going places and getting a lot of attention because he's winning races and he's, you know, just, you know, I think of him as a little kid and he's not, you know, he's grown up quick and he is extremely fast. I think he's even, you know, almost better than Danny was at this age. And Danny was a great race car driver, you know, for the last umpteen years. So I think there's a lot of promise with that. And talking about drivers watching, he's one to watch. And if he could hook up with a major sponsor somewhere along the road, we could possibly see him running, you know, on TV here, not, you know, in the next 5 years or so.
Yeah, it's definitely not a flash in the pan. It's definitely not just because of the car. Obviously, they have a great car, but he is a fantastic driver. And he's proven that with wins already this year, wherever he goes. Also, I wanted to bring up that Iowa Speedway is going to be having a big weekend again. Now, we spent all those years with Speed Talk on 1360 down there reporting on the Truck Series and reporting on the Xfinity Series and reporting on the ARCA Series. We never got to see a cup race at the Iowa Speedway until we quit doing the show, Dino. And then they bring the Cup Series. Go figure. They bring the Cup Series.
Go figure. So they waited for us. They waited for us to quit doing the radio show. And all of a sudden now they bring a cup race in. So, you know, I guess that's how it works and stuff like that. We were down there so many times. In fact, remember that one time we got there so early, we turned the lights on in the media center.
Yep.
Because we got there, you know, because we were going to do a live radio show. And so we had to get there early to set up. And so we went in there and we're turning lights on inside an NASCAR track.
We've been there so many times, the workers actually knew our names.
Yes. Yeah. I walk in and I go, "Hey, Dean." And I'm like, "Hey."
I remember you from last year.
You're from KRWC. And it's like, yeah. So that was always kind of fun and all that. And so we'll be watching on television and going, "Oh, that's pretty cool." You're going to go down there though for the IndyCar race though, and that's a big spectacular event that's grown over the last couple of years with some sponsorship and from Hy-Vee and such that they've made it. It was a good race before, but now they've made it a really big race, and they throw the concerts in with it too, which makes it really kind of fun.
The Cup Series will be there July 14th, 15th, and 16th. For Indy cars, or I should say June 14th, 15th, and 16th for the Cup Series, and then July 13th and 14th for IndyCar. And yeah, I'll be there. Got a chance to go the last couple years. It was fantastic, not only for the race, but also the entertainment. Luke Combs and Eric Church will be there on Saturday, and then Kelsey Ballerini and Post Malone will be there
Yeah.
on Sunday. And so you get to watch the race, but then there's also the entertainment that happens right before and right after. And so it was packed last year, and I hear it's going to be even more packed this year. So I don't know, it's a way to bring racing into a whole new genre of people.
And I think it's kind of funny because Iowa Speedway a couple of years ago, now this is like probably like third or fourth year that I think third year that they've done that now, bringing in the entertainment, and they kind of tried something new. Nobody had done that before, and it was a home run. And now you're starting to see even NASCAR do some of those things now too. It was kind of an experiment. Let's try this in Iowa and see what happens, and see if people come to Iowa. People came to Iowa in droves, and now they keep coming back, and the pressure's on to get good entertainment as well as the racing too. And like you said, it brings on the race fans, and it brings on the music fans that that may not know much about racing, and really kind of opens their eyes to it. It was a great idea as an experiment, obviously working. And Iowa Speedway, a great place. We've seen it for many years, and track has a lot of character. It's a lot of fun to watch. It'll be fun to watch the Cup cars. Indy cars are amazing too. It's amazing too when you go to Iowa Speedway, and we'll talk about that just for a second here. They used to run the trucks, and it was kind of fun, interesting comparison. The trucks on the same weekend they ran the Indy cars, and you watch the trucks, and I was like, they're moving, they're going pretty fast, and then the Indy cars go out there and they're like twice as fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing. It's like, wow, you just couldn't really put the speed in perspective. It's a fun track. It's great, great facilities. Easy access, easy for people in Minnesota to get to, as we found that out over the years, driving down there, leaving at 2, 3 in the morning, and we're down there, ready to go bright and early.
It's about 5.5 hour drive for us.
Yeah,
it's all freeway. The thing that I think they did that was a lot different, because they've had music acts at NASCAR races forever and such, but not the top names. That's the thing, is when you bring in Gwen Stefani and these huge, superstars, that's when it goes up that next level. I mean, when you have Firehouse, who had one hit 30 years ago, that's cool. But when you have someone that's had 10 number one hits and still current, that's a lot bigger deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the cool things. I mean, these are people that fill up the XL Energy Center on a
Blake Shelton
concert.
Yeah. It was all these, biggest stars, and they just keep on upping it every year.
Yeah, so they're not playing, they're not playing the free stage at the state fair or anything like that. These are main music acts that they're bringing in, and it's a great thing, and it's great to see in racing. And we've been proponents of Iowa Speedway for a long time, and hats off to them for all the great things they've done there, and continue to do. And we got to keep that track going. We don't want to see that one go away. I mean, some tracks are disappearing. It's like, we got to keep that Iowa Speedway around, because we really like that place. It really is a great place, and it's fun, and it's an exciting track.
Did you see who they named president of Iowa Speedway?
I did, but I'm blanking out right now.
Eric Peterson.
Yes, not the Eric Peterson that we know. That's right.
Oh, I thought it was the old flagman at I-94.
No, he's busy with his business up in Sauk Center too, and we can maybe get him to sponsor our program here and stuff like that. Yes,
no, I saw that press release, and it said Eric Peterson named president of Iowa Speedway, and I was very excited until I read it. It wasn't our Eric Peterson.
Yeah, I saw that too. That's right. And I saw that. I thought, hey, and they're like, oh, okay.
No. Well, it was fun talking to you, Dino.
We could go there and say we know Eric Peterson, though, and see how far that gets us.
Not far either way.
You never know.
So it's been fun to get antiquated with our setup here. We did a radio show together for 20 years. And
And
so,
on many different radio stations,
yeah.
I mean, granted, we did AM 1360 for the last several years, but prior to that, we were on a couple other radio stations, several other radio stations, cable access as well too. So,
Hmm.
we've kind of been on just about every kind of format you can think of here. We've been on cable access, we've been on different radio stations, and now we're, you know, taking on the internet. So,
Why not?
who knows what's next?
Yeah,
If
why
we're around for
not?
another 20, 30 years, there might be some new technology yet that hasn't been invented that we'll probably have some kind of racing program on. So I hope everybody enjoyed this. This is kind of fun. It's not something that we're going to do every week, but we're going to do it. We're just going to pop up every so often and do one of these things here. Maybe we'll do them a couple weeks in a row. Who knows? We'll have to see how that goes. But it's a lot of fun. Let us know if what you think of it too.
Are you looking to go any other places? I went to Ogilvy this spring. We went to one of the races at Ogilvy, which we thought was pretty fun. You planning on traveling around at all?
I'll probably hit some of the local races too. I was over there at Granite City, about 10 minutes from my house, um, up in Sauk Rapids, a couple weeks ago. So that was kind of fun. I'll probably hit some other places too. And then, yeah, Ogilvy's got some big races coming up here, and Princeton, a lot of things. I'm kind of anxious to go to Princeton now because they've got a different group managing the track right now. They put up a lap counter and a scoreboard now. And they redid the flag stand and just some other things, and brought back with soda for the track, which a lot of drivers had not been racing at Princeton for a number of years. And there's a big late model show coming up here a little bit later on this summer here too. And that'll be kind of fun to see late models on that little tight quarter mile track too. So that'll be a lot of fun too. So
It's
try and get
perfect
out.
for sprint cars. And it's really only half an hour from my house, Dino. So if you ever go, let me know. Because yeah, I've always loved Princeton. Really cool little quarter-mile bull ring.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And Ogilvy is always a fun place to go to. They got World of Outlaws coming up here too, and they've got a whole lot of events. And yeah, I want to try and hit some different places. Maybe try and finally get down to Wilmer. I've never been to KRA Speedway in Wilmer, and I know you used to go there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been there. And Viking, it's been a while since I've been at Viking Speedway too. And I look at the drivers that run at Viking Speedway, and there's a lot of familiar last names,
Mm-hmm.
ones that you've grown up with. Now it's the next generation of those drivers racing up there too. So that's a lot of time.
I've gone to the Viking Speedway the last couple years on Hall of Fame night, and I think I'm going to do it again because it's the people who I grew up watching are all retiring now, and they're going into the Hall of Fame, and so it's fun for me to see them, and I can see the announcers that I idolized when I was growing up and such, and so I really enjoy going back to the flying half mile at Alexandria, and that's a nice thing about the Elko schedule is we only have 11 events. And so it gives me an opportunity to go and see some other stuff and do some other stuff. And I talked to a lot of different drivers, and originally they said they weren't happy with it, because change is different, and we all don't like to change. But once we've gotten used to it, almost everyone has told me that they actually appreciate it because they can do things with the kids, whether they want to go camping or whether they want to go karting or whether they want to go fishing or whatever. And it's not just all racing all the time, all summer. But you still got those big events. And at Elko Speedway, every event is going to be big because we have such a huge crowd. And so it makes for a real fun atmosphere. And so even though it's only 11 events, it seems more than that. It seems bigger than that. And so I don't know. I enjoy having a schedule like this.
And here's something that you may or may not know, that for the ARCA race, I will be in the booth with you that night.
Yeah.
And I have another night that I'm going to be in the booth with you coming up here at the end of June, the last Saturday in June. I believe it's the 29th. I will be in the booth with you as well, too. So if you enjoy listening to us banner, you can listen to us a whole night doing it at the racetrack as we get to do a couple races together, which is always kind of fun. I always look forward to doing races with you. It's fun. It's fun to do races. I like, I'm okay doing them by myself, but when I can do races with you, we can bounce things back off each other. It just makes it a lot more fun. So looking forward to that this year too.
We've been working together since about 1998, Dean. So
yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And our very first race that we ever worked together was what?
Well, are you talking about when we did the Midwest Tour race broadcast? No. What was that?
We did a snowmobile race
Oh,
at Sock Lake.
that's right.
And we are like really
Oh.
knowledgeable in the world of
No,
snowmobile racing.
no, that was terrible. See, they needed someone really bad.
And so they called you, and then
they
you called
said,
me.
is there any way you could do it? And I go, well, I guess I could. And I didn't realize, because I'd never been to a snowmobile race before, you can't see those little tiny numbers, and they're way down there on those little tiny sleds. And so I was used to being able to know who was who. And so I went there and I interviewed a bunch of people. I talked to a bunch of people. I felt like I was knowledgeable. And then they do the race and I couldn't see a thing.
I brought my
I had
binoculars.
no
which was
idea
helpful.
what was happening.
I know.
It was not
And
my
you get the
favorite.
and you get the snow, you get the snow dust flying around. And the colors of the snowmobile teams, there's only like 2 or 3 main colors. And so
Yeah.
everybody runs their factory colors. So besides the little itty bitty numbers, you have all these people either wearing black and green or yellow and black.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like, okay, well,
Was
which
that the one
is it?
on the lake, or was that the one at I-94?
That was the one on the lake. The
Yeah,
first time we went
that
to it.
was
I actually
terrible.
I worked also on at I-94 with Ron Krogh
Mm-hmm.
before. And that was a treat. Well, and work with Ron Krogh, it's a treat anytime.
Well, that's good timing right there. So that's going to be it for the show as it's ending. So thanks, everyone. We'll do this again sometime. For Dean, I'm Jason. We'll see you at the track.